car crash, and I transmigrated into the ex-husband of the female CEO, Su Wanqing. Thinking about the tragic end of the original husband, I decisively took the divorce papers and signed my name in huge letters. The female CEO's face instantly darkened. "Chen Shu, have you thought this through?" My heart skipped a beat, and I hurriedly clutched my wallet tight. "Are you kidding me? This is an astronomical breakup fee. I wouldn't give back a single cent even if I died." After lying in the hospital bed for 3 days, I finally accepted the fact that I had transmigrated, an ordinary male college student, transmigrated into a melodramatic CEO novel. The vicious male supporting character, and the ex-husband of the female CEO no less. Relying on his family's wealth and power, he acted recklessly and thought he owned the world. He fell in love at first sight with the female lead, Su Wanqing, right at the opening ceremony. From then on, he stalked her relentlessly, using every dirty trick in the book to force her to marry me. Su Wanqing was the textbook campus novel heroine. Poor background, but beautiful and brilliant. Her father was disabled, and her mother had uremia. To scrape together the medical fees for her family, she ultimately chose to compromise and marry me. 5 years of marriage, she went from a nameless little office worker to an outstanding rising star in the business world. Our relationship grew worse by the day. Su Wanqing also gradually slipped out of my control, yet I remained completely oblivious, still acting as arrogant as ever, until one day I pushed her white moonlight to the ground. Su Wanqing couldn't take it anymore and demanded a divorce. I got into a car crash right at that moment. Su Wanqing waited until the 3rd day to visit me, and threw the divorce papers right in my face. The woman's voice was icy cold, her brows furrowed with nothing but impatience and disgust. "Chen Shu, are you done throwing a tantrum?" But even so, the moment I got a clear look at her face, my heart still skipped a beat. No wonder the original owner went crazy. This face is absolutely gorgeous. I glanced at the divorce agreement. Seeing the amount of assets I'd be getting, my heart almost stopped. Holy crap, I'm rich. The original owner's family was indeed wealthy, but he was an unreasonable tyrant, and he had a younger brother who was vastly superior in every way. Inheriting the company was definitely out of the question for him. Meanwhile, Su Wanqing's startup skyrocketed in just a few short years. Her net worth was already incredibly impressive. Once we divorce, the settlement fee will be an astronomical figure. I've accumulated good karma my whole life, so ending up suddenly filthy rich is a well-deserved reward. After calculating the money I could get, I tried to suppress my excitement, afraid that the corners of my mouth would betray a smile, and Su Wanqing would notice something was off. Then, I took a deep breath and said, "I agree to the divorce." Su Wanqing froze, probably not expecting that I would agree so decisively. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, miss it and it's gone. Without waiting for her to snap out of it, I went scribble, 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 and immediately signed my name on the divorce agreement. Su Wanqing seemed to realize something wasn't right. Her brows furrowed. I turned my face away, pretending my heart had grown cold. "I've thought it through. Su Wanqing, let's just let each other go." After that, I stayed silent for a long time, until I was about to slip under the covers to count my savings again, only to realize that Su Wanqing was silently staring at the divorce agreement, showing no intention of leaving. I asked, puzzled, "You're still not leaving? That guy named Song Jingnian hasn't recovered from his injuries yet, right? Aren't you going to visit him more?" Su Wanqing's face instantly turned ice cold. I felt a bit anxious inside. Could this woman be regretting giving me so much money? But I've already signed it. She can't back out now even if she wants to. Besides, considering how incredibly magnanimous I'm being right now, it's only natural that she gives me the money. Back when Su Wanqing was in college, she had a white moonlight named Song Jingnian. Unlike the arrogant and domineering young master, Song Jingnian was gentle, understanding, and ambitious. He was raised in a single-parent household. His family's financial situation had been poor since childhood, but he was very driven. He excelled in every aspect, to some extent. He and Su Wanqing were from the same world. Only he could truly understand Su Wanqing, making him her soulmate. If it weren't for me, the two of them would have naturally ended up together. And after graduating from college, they would have worked hard together in this city, building a happy home of their own. The original Chen Shu was insanely jealous. He made things difficult for Song Jingnian in every possible way, constantly picking fights. In the end, he even went crazy and physically attacked him. From then on, Su Wanqing completely despised Chen Shu, cutting all ties with him. You could figure it out with your toes. Offending both the male and female leads, just how miserable the fate of this vicious supporting character would be. So I need to take this chance, grab the money, and run. Su Wanqing finally slammed the door and left. I patted my chest and secretly curled my lip. What a temper. But thinking about the assets I was about to get, I felt happy again. This kind of windfall dropping from the sky isn't something just anyone is lucky enough to catch. While I was lost in thought, my phone suddenly received a WeChat message from Gu Qinghan. Her words couldn't hide her teasing tone. "I heard Su Wanqing finally showed her face to visit you today. She's my childhood friend, a willful young lady from a wealthy family, usually best known for partying and having fun. She couldn't stand Su-won King, and Su-won Ching didn't like her either. The two of them were completely at odds, especially after Su-won Ching and I got married. Our two families interacted more. Her old man often brought up Su-won Ching to compare with her. This led to Gu Ching-han hating Su-won Ching even more. She scolded me for being love-brained, always telling me to go dig for wild veggies in her garden. This time, she was clearly here to laugh at me again, but I didn't care. I was busy counting my massive payout. Who has the time to feel sorry for themselves? I thought for a moment, then snapped a photo of the divorce agreement and sent it over. Starting today, your bro is single? Treat me to a meal. Gu Ching-han called me immediately, opening with, "Are you crazy? Watch your mouth." Once I'm discharged, we're going to the Civil Affairs Bureau to make it official. Good thing the accident wasn't too serious. Just bumped my head a bit. Aren't you going to show some support? Gu Ching-han was silent for a moment, then suddenly burst out laughing. All right, young Master Chen, how do you want me to show my support? A week later, I wore an expensive suit, looking sharp as I was discharged from the hospital. Gu Ching-han crossed her arms and mocked, dressing up like that in a hospital. You actually look somewhat human. I clicked my tongue. What do you know? Today is a big day. Gu Ching-han couldn't be bothered and turned to walk out. Unexpectedly, we bumped right into Su-won Ching. Su-won King's gaze lingered on her for a second, her eyes cold. I walked over to her, smiling at her. You're here. Where's the car? Su-won King's expression softened slightly. Parking lot. Let's go. Gu Ching-han immediately couldn't stand it. Let's go. Gu Ching-han immediately couldn't stand it, tilting her head, her beautiful eyes narrowing slightly as she looked at me. Chen Shu, aren't you taking my car? I waved my hand. I have to go with Su-won King to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the divorce papers first. It'll be more convenient to take her car. Saying that, I urged Su-won Ching, who was standing there stiffly. What are you standing there for? Let's go. Gu Ching-han burst out laughing. True, this is a matter of great importance. Don't delay. Su-won King's mouth twitched in a mocking smirk. Chen Shu, are you really in that much of a hurry to draw a line between us? I answered honestly. Mainly because you have other plans tonight. I just want to get this sorted out early, so I don't waste your time, right? Su-won King was always very busy. The number of times she came home could be counted on one hand. I knew she didn't want to see me. Coincidentally, I had no interest in staying tangled up with her either. Going our separate ways and minding our own business, isn't that better? The Civil Affairs Bureau wasn't very crowded. Soon enough, it was my and Su-won King's turn. Just as we were about to walk in, Su-won King's phone suddenly rang. I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. It was Song Jingnian. Su-won Ching stepped aside to answer the call. I faintly heard her warm, gentle voice. I'm still out, taking care of some things. She had never used a tone like that to speak to me. This marriage was a forced union from the very beginning. For 5 whole years, the two of them were always at each other's throats. Even having a decent meal together was nearly impossible, let alone speaking such soft, caring words. The clerk urged us twice, are you two going to do the paperwork or not? I shook my head, feeling a bit of injustice on behalf of the original owner. In Su-won King's heart, he truly had no place at all. Su-won King, I called out loudly to her, can we handle my business first this time? Su-won King had always treated Song Jingnian as her top priority. The original owner had fought and argued over it, but she remained indifferent and heartless. The original owner was truly foolish, deluding himself into thinking he could win against Song Jingnian. Wasn't that just asking for suffering? Su-won Ching was the same. If she prioritized me this time, wouldn't she be able to openly and honestly be with her white moonlight sooner? Su-won King's face suddenly stiffened. Then she said to the person on the other end of the line, have Dr. Zhang take a look at you first.
I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
20 minutes later, holding the freshly printed divorce certificate in my hands, tears welled up in my eyes. I got it. My massive breakup fee is securely in my hands. From today onwards, traveling, drinking, partying, and having fun. I'm going to be a happy man, I said to Su-won Ching with the utmost sincerity. Su-won Ching, thank you. Thank you for your money. Let's never see each other again. I had just stepped outside when I caught sight of Gu Ching-han. This woman was driving a flashy, stylish red Ferrari, incredibly eye-catching. It'd be hard not to notice it. I happily strode over. I've got money now. I need to go spend it. Suddenly, Su-won King's voice rang out from behind me, sounding a bit choked up. I hurriedly turned around. Is there something else? Su-won King's red lips were pressed tightly together. For a moment, her emotions were hard to read. If it were the original owner, seeing her in such an obviously unstable mood, he would definitely have asked her what was wrong until he got an answer. But I was too lazy to act anymore. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I quickened my pace. For cannon fodder like me, staying as far away from the male and female leads as possible is the true source of happiness. As I sat in Gu Qinghan's car and drove off, I glanced in the rearview mirror. Su Wanqing stood there, surrounded by passing cars and people, yet looking strangely lonely, without me, the annoying tail, clinging to her anymore. She's finally free, isn't she? Gu Qinghan shot me a glance. Feeling reluctant to let go, I replied excitedly, "You still saved those pretty girls at your club for me, right?" Gu Qinghan was utterly speechless. I was worrying for nothing. I used to think you loved her so deeply, but right after getting divorced, the word joy is written all over your face. Is it that obvious? I pulled down the passenger mirror to take a good look. Currently 28 years old, even though I suddenly aged 10 years. Fortunately, this face is incredibly handsome. Most importantly, I have money. I thought for a moment and offered an explanation. She doesn't love me. So, I'm simply not going to love her anymore either. While stopped at a red light, Gu Qinghan turned to look at me for a long time, until I felt goosebumps all over. She finally spoke with a meaningful tone. "After this accident, you're like a completely different person." I calmly shrugged. I guess when people experience life and death, they tend to see things more clearly. Gu Qinghan paused for a moment, then burst out laughing. "Fair enough. Go all out tonight, it's on me." 2 hours later, Gu Qinghan regretted it. Her face darkened. "Haven't you called enough?" She wasn't talking about the alcohol, but the staff in the club. Oh no, I should call them the pretty girls. I raised my glass to her. Come on, have a drink with your bro." As I spoke, I patted her shoulder, pointing at the circle of beautiful girls around us. "Look, every single one of these girls is sweet and pretty. Any of them could easily beat my ex-wife. I really was something. There is no shortage of beautiful women in the world." He had money and looks.
Why the hell did he have to hang himself on one tree?
Gu Qinghan sneered. "Looks like you've finally figured it out." A slender girl walked over to pour me a drink, incredibly obedient. "Try this glass, sir."
Sure.
I happily reached out to take it, but Gu Qinghan snatched it away. "No drinking randomly. You just got out of the hospital. I don't want to have to call an ambulance for you later." Saying that, she glared at the girl. The girl's face instantly turned pale. She hurriedly bowed her head and apologized. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know." I waved my hand generously. It's fine. I'm in a good mood today." Then I smiled and glanced over at Gu Qinghan. "You're really something else? Talk about a double standard. You get to set fires, but I can't even light a lamp. When your little boy toys were feeding you drinks, you were drinking happily enough. Why is it that when it's my turn, I can't do the same?" Gu Qinghan laughed out of anger. "How can you even compare the two?" "Why not?" I was fully determined to return to my days as a rich playboy, doing whatever I wanted. Gu Qinghan suddenly asked,
"Right? Does your family know about this yet?"
I froze. Fuck. I completely forgot about that. Before I could even open my mouth, Gu Qinghan already saw right through me. "I knew you didn't dare to tell them." The relationship between the original owner and his family actually wasn't very good. His parents were stubborn and old-fashioned, and they favored his younger brother. His personality was rebellious. Back when he wanted to marry Su Wanqing, he had a massive, tense falling out with his family. Later, when Su Wanqing's career took off, his family's attitude did a complete 180. They even repeatedly scolded him over his conflicts with Su Wanqing. In short, this vicious supporting character hadn't exactly had an easy life before. But whatever. I've got the divorce papers in my hands now. What is there to be afraid of? In the days that followed, life was even more blissful than I imagined. I had the maid pack up all of Su Wanqing's belongings and ship them all away. This villa was originally the marital home the original owner's parents bought for them. But Su Wanqing didn't like living here. Perhaps every little corner of this place reminded her of the humiliation the original owner had brought her. At first, she mostly slept at the company. Later, when her career took off, she bought an apartment near the office. The original owner went there once, only to accidentally bump into Song Jingnian there. Even though Song Jingnian immediately explained that he was only there because it was raining and had just stopped by temporarily to take shelter. But with the original owner's temper, how could he not be furious? He and Su Wanqing had a massive fight that time. They gave each other the cold shoulder for a whole month. In the end, it was still the original owner who couldn't take it and took the initiative to back down and compromise. Who could blame him when Su Wanqing was the only one in his eyes and heart?
Well, it's great now.
This massive, luxurious 3-story villa belongs to me alone. Su Wanqing didn't have many belongings here, but after clearing them out, I still felt it was a bit empty. So I immediately set out to go shopping. Then, I started pointing around like a king at my favorite stores. "I'll take this and that one too. I don't need these. Wrap up the rest for me right away, Mr. Chen." The store manager smiled brightly like a blooming flower. Several sales associates followed behind me, carrying my bags. Unexpectedly, as soon as I stepped out the door, I bumped into Su Wanqing. She froze when she saw me. I already saw Song Jingnian standing right behind her. It seems his leg injury has gotten much better. He can even stroll around the mall now. Su Wanqing's lips parted slightly. Taking the initiative to speak, "It's his mother's birthday soon. I brought him here to pick out a gift." I blinked.
Why is she telling me this?
I didn't even care, but out of politeness, I still gave a courteous nod. But before I could take my leave, Song Jingnian spoke up. He looked a bit apologetic. Mr. Chen,
I'm so sorry.
my leg still isn't fully healed, so I had to ask Wan King to help bring me here. I see you've bought quite a lot of things. Isn't it a bit heavy to carry? How about letting Wan Qing help you carry them? I can manage on my own. Listen to that. What a masterclass in speaking. That line was a subtle reminder to Su Wanqing that I was the one who pushed him, while also hinting that I shouldn't be jealous, and acting all generous by offering Su Wanqing's help to me. I smiled and replied, "No need. My car is right downstairs. Besides, it's best not to bother Miss Su with my personal matters." Song Jingnian froze. What? I also looked at Su Wanqing in surprise. Miss Su, you still haven't told Mr. Song that we're divorced. Song Jingnian turned to look at Su Wanqing in absolute shock. The smile on Su Wanqing's face stiffened. Her expression darkened. I don't like making a big fuss out of things, so she was taking a jab at my celebration. I only threw a few divorce parties, that's all. Is there a need to be so petty? Song Jingnian clearly didn't expect to be hit with such a massive bombshell. He stammered, mouth agape. Wanqing, you and Mr. Chen have...
Why didn't you tell me?
Hearing his voice, Su Wanqing finally remembered he was still standing right next to her. Who is this guy anyway? Pausing for a moment, she lowered her voice to explain. I've been too busy lately. In the past, that was her favorite excuse to brush me off. Who would have thought the tables would turn? And Song Jingnian would get the exact same treatment. But in the end, the male lead and the supporting character are just different. To Song Jingnian, those words were absolutely massive. Wonderful news. His eyes darted back and forth between me and Su Wanqing. A few times, he put on an apologetic face and said, I'm sorry. He put on an apologetic face and said, I'm sorry. I didn't know earlier, so I didn't mean to bring it up. Mr. Chen, you won't take it to heart, right? Of course I won't. She's a woman I have absolutely no ties with anymore. Well, you two enjoy your walk. I've got some girls waiting to help me carry my bags. They're pretty heavy. Su Wanqing suddenly spoke up. Wait. I turned around. Is there something else, Miss Su? Su Wanqing frowned. It seemed she still wasn't used to my sudden change in attitude. Yesterday, my mom mentioned you haven't visited her in a long time. Su Wanqing's voice dropped. She seemed to have a hard time saying it, but she had no choice but to speak. If you have time, please drop by and see her. The person she was talking about was her mother, who was suffering from uremia. Unlike Su Wanqing, her mother had always been very fond of me because Su Wanqing never told her that she was forced into marrying me. In the eyes of the elderly woman, I was a wealthy young master who didn't look down on the Su family's background and was completely devoted to Su Wanqing. Naturally, she couldn't be more pleased with me. Back when we first got married, to win Su Wanqing's heart, I persistently took the initiative to care for her mother, to earn the elder's favor. I knew this was my ultimate trump card. Su Wanqing was a filial daughter.
Probably because of this.
She didn't easily tear off all ties with me, but I ended up laying a hand on Song Jingnian, crossing her bottom line, and just like that, I lost my final trump card. I thought for a moment, then agreed, tomorrow, then. After all, the old lady hadn't done anything wrong. Su Wanqing breathed a sigh of relief, then I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. I scoffed and dangled my car keys. No need. I have arms and legs. I can drive myself. No need to trouble Miss Su. Both Su Wanqing and Song Jingnian's expressions froze at the same time. Early the next morning, I headed out to the nursing home. This high-end nursing home was located in the suburbs. The facilities were top-notch. The service was excellent too. Naturally, the price was incredibly steep. Mr. Chen, you're here. The nurse greeted me politely when she saw me. This was someone hired by Su Wanqing. Knowing that my relationship with Su Wanqing wasn't good, she kept her distance from me as well. Mother Su was lying in bed. The uremia that tormented her year-round had left her frail and emaciated. Her body was weak, but thankfully, staying at the nursing home these past few years had made her much better than before. Su Wanqing's gaze lingered for a moment on the food container in my hand. She pursed her lips with a hint of disdain. Even a nurse didn't think much of my attempts to curry favor, because she knew that no matter what I did, I would only earn Su Wanqing's disgust. Chen Shu. Mother Su saw me. A kind smile appeared on her face. You've been very busy lately, haven't you? I haven't seen you in a while. I sighed inwardly. From start to finish, I was just using her, but she took it all to heart. The elderly hadn't done anything wrong. Yeah, a bit busy. I brought you some chicken soup. You should try some later. Mother Su grabbed my hand again. She looked at me for a long time and asked carefully, did Wanqing make you mad again? I shook my head. But Mother Su didn't believe me. She sighed helplessly. Wanqing has been stubborn since she was a child, and she always keeps things bottled up inside. If she made you unhappy, just tell me. I'll scold her for you. I felt even more guilty. I originally planned to tell her about the divorce, but the words got stuck in my throat. I just couldn't bring myself to say it. I stayed and had a meal with Mother Su. chatted with her for a bit longer. Before leaving, I hesitated for a long time. Finally, I managed to speak up with difficulty. It'll be busy for a while coming up, so I might not be able to visit you as often. IED reduce the frequency of my visits first, then find a suitable time to tell her. That would probably be much better. This couldn't be hidden forever. Even if I agreed, Su Wan-king wouldn't accept it. If I came too often, she'd probably think I still had ulterior motives toward her. Mother Su patted my hand. She sighed softly. Chen Shu, you're a good kid. What happened last time was Wan-king's fault. Even though she doesn't mention it in front of me, I know she's deeply tormented inside. She regrets it so much. She likes you so much. The baby is gone. How could she not be sad? My heart skipped a beat.
The baby, that's right.
This was the spark that caused the relationship between the original owner and Su Wan-ching to completely shatter. That's right. In the past, the original owner and Su Wan-king actually had a child together. And it was because he took advantage of Su Wan-ching getting drunk at a business dinner, using every trick in the book to make it happen. This child didn't exactly come about in the most honorable way, but in the original owner's eyes, it was the sharpest weapon to tie Su Wan-king down to his side. After finding out she was pregnant, Su Wan-ching felt guilty toward her first love, Song Jingnian. But on the other hand, she couldn't bear to get rid of her own flesh and blood. In the end, she chose the baby. Her childhood had been hard enough, so she couldn't bear to let her child be born into a broken family. During that time, her relationship with the original owner was at its best. She would obediently eat the nourishing food he bought, and shed focus on reading all sorts of parenting books. She truly wanted to be a good mother. So after the miscarriage, she completely cut ties with the original owner. It's actually quite ridiculous. After Su Wan-ching got pregnant, the original owner saw her attitude improve and started pushing his luck. He wanted to keep her by his side 24/7. Every time Su Wan-ching refused, he'd use prenatal education as an excuse, or claim it was to nurture their family bond, forcing Su Wan-ching to compromise. Over time, Su Wan-ching started losing her patience. Once Su Wan-ching had to go on a business trip, and among the people going with her was Song Jingnian. The original owner absolutely refused, demanding she send someone else and stay home to focus on the pregnancy. Su Wan-king felt he was interfering with her freedom, paranoid and controlling. The two of them had a massive fight. Chen Shu, can you just be normal for once? Stop thinking everyone is as despicable as you, okay? After saying that, Su Wan-king slammed the door and left. As a result, that night, the original owner received news that Su Wan-ching had miscarried due to extreme anger affecting the pregnancy. You can imagine. The moment this happened, their relationship instantly shattered. An earth-shattering argument ensued. If you could say that before, Su Wan-ching only felt disgust toward the original owner. Then after this, it turned into pure hatred. She never set foot in their marital home again, and had absolutely no contact with him, until the original owner went looking for Song Jingnian and pushed him down the stairs. That was the final straw. I stayed silent for a moment, then said, "It's all in the past now. The old Chen Shu is dead."
All of this ends here.
Leaving the nursing home, my mood was a bit gloomy. I didn't know if it was because of Mother Su or because of the old Chen Shu, but that bit of gloominess vanished the moment I realized I had accidentally thrown my car keys into the trash can. It reached its peak. In desperation, I called Gu Qinghan to come pick me up. As soon as she heard, Gu Qinghan found it absurd. "Do I look like your chauffeur? Am I supposed to just wait on your orders? It's not like I won't pay you." I said, "Gu Qinghan, this nursing home is in the middle of nowhere. It's impossible to get a cab." So Gu Qinghan reluctantly drove over. By the time we got home, it was already dark. More importantly, it was pouring rain. Looking at the heavy downpour outside, I showed great mercy and took Gu Qinghan in, granting the young miss the guest room on the second floor. Unexpectedly, early the next morning, someone rang the doorbell. I cracked an eye open and groggily went to answer the door. The person standing outside was none other than Su Wan-ching. She was just about to speak when footsteps echoed from the stairs. In Gu Qinghan's voice, there was obvious irritation from being woken up. "Who is it?" Su Wan-king's expression instantly turned ice cold. Every word seemed to be squeezed through gritted teeth. "Looks like I came at a bad time. Sorry to interrupt you two." I rolled my eyes in disdain inwardly. "So you do know you ruined someone's sleep. Besides, what's with that attitude?"
This is my house, okay? You're just my ex-wife.
What right do you have to be mad?
"Putting on this face like you've been cheated on. Who is that for? You cheated on me for so long." And I was generous enough to let it slide. I turned my head and yelled to Gu Qinghan, "It's nothing. Go back to sleep." Gu Qinghan was an expert at dealing with princess syndrome. After all, she got stuck here in the rain because of me. I couldn't just let her not even get a good night's sleep. Gu Qinghan saw Su Wan-king and seemed to wake up quite a bit. She lazily smirked. "We have a guest." "It'd be rude of me to go back to sleep then." "Chen Shu, honestly, why don't you invite her in to sit down?" I couldn't be bothered, so I turned back to look at Su Wan-ching. I had absolutely no intention of inviting her in. I just finished clearing out all her stuff. I didn't want to dirty this house. Otherwise, it'd have to bother the maid to clean it up again. I spoke up and asked, "What brings Miss Sue here so early in the morning?" Su Wonqing's face turned slightly pale. Clearly, those sarcastic remarks from Gu Qinghan had stepped right on her landmine, but she couldn't lash out. If it were before, she could have just taken the stance of the lady of the house and told Gu Qinghan to get lost. But now, she wasn't even on Gu Qinghan's level. She couldn't even get through the front door. But this type of woman was very good at enduring. Su Wonqing was no exception. She took a deep breath, ignored Gu Qinghan completely, and pulled a key out of her bag. "You left this at my mom's place yesterday. She urged me to bring it to you." The hidden meaning in her words was that she only came here because her mother told her to. "Thanks." I took the key. "Actually, you didn't need to trouble yourself to come all the way here. I have a spare key." Su Wonqing was momentarily speechless. I waited a few seconds. I was really out of patience. I tactfully reminded her, "Miss Sue, is there anything else?" No. If Su Wonqing couldn't catch this obvious hint to leave, then all her efforts to reach her current status would have been in vain. She pressed her red lips tightly together. "No."
Slam.
I slammed the door right in her face. Gu Qinghan stood on the stairs looking at me. "I found it weird, aren't you going back to sleep?"
Why are you staring at me?
Gu Qinghan narrowed her eyes slightly, crossing her arms over her chest. "Nothing. Just thinking that your attitude toward your ex-wife seems a bit too ruthless." I was utterly speechless. "If you have nothing good to say, just shut up." Gu Qinghan tilted her chin up. "Chen Shu, don't tell me you can't see what she's thinking." I asked back, thinking what? Gu Qinghan leaned back and said lazily, "She wanted to see you right. Otherwise, she definitely wouldn't have rushed over here at the crack of dawn, just to personally deliver a car key. And she certainly wouldn't have looked so awful. When she saw me in this house," I tilted my head. "So what?" Gu Qinghan tapped her fingers on the railing and asked casually, "You don't feel anything." "Feel what? Am I supposed to go running back to her like a dog just because she turned around?" I found it a bit funny. Gu Qinghan looked over. Her eyes flickered. Her back seemed to straighten up a bit. I shrugged. "I just feel like I divorced her too late. If I had known what kind of person she was earlier, I should have given up on her a long time ago. Wasted so much of my time for nothing."
Gu Qinghan
didn't seem to expect me to say that. She stared at me for a moment, then suddenly turned her head and burst out laughing. "Not bad, Chen Shu. You finally showed some promise for once." I felt encouraged. I couldn't help but compliment her back. "Oh, stop it. I'm still miles behind you. You're the real master of walking through a field of flowers, without a single petal sticking to you." Gu Qinghan was exasperated. "I've told you so many times. I have nothing going on with those guys." I quickly played along. I know. Young miss, you're just playing around with them for show.
You just haven't met your Mr.
Right? Yet.
Isn't that how it's written in all the novels? The bossy heiress eventually meets her true love and takes all the romantic debts she owed in the past to pay them back tenfold. Gu Qinghan looked at me, speechless, and dropped one line. "I knew talking to an idiot like you would lead nowhere." Then she went back to sleep. I slept all the way until the afternoon, woken up by my growling stomach. When I woke up, I realized I had a ton of missed calls and WeChat messages on my phone, all from the original owner's parents. Scrolling through them, I figured out why they suddenly contacted me. They found out about my divorce with Su Wonqing. "Did you and Su Wonqing get a divorce?"
What on earth are you thinking?
"How many times have I told you? Su Wonqing's company is growing incredibly fast. We're even discussing a partnership with them." "What are we supposed to do now that you've done this? You're a grown man.
Why are you still so impulsive?
Getting a divorce just like that. Don't you ever think about anyone else?"
You're too selfish.
"I don't have a son like you." Anyway, it was just the same old stuff back and forth. I looked at it for a bit, then couldn't be bothered anymore. I went out to find some food. Smells amazing. I stared wide-eyed at the lavish spread of food on the table, and Gu Qinghan, who was leisurely enjoying the delicacies. "Gu Qinghan, do you have a conscience? Eating all by yourself?" Gu Qinghan raised an eyebrow. "Am I supposed to starve just for you?" Very well said. Very convincing. Made it impossible to argue back. I just walked right up and grabbed some chopsticks and picked up my favorite fish-flavored shredded pork. Putting everything else aside, Gu Qinghan really knows her stuff when it comes to food. The dishes ordered from her private kitchen, even as takeout, taste way better than anywhere else. Gu Qinghan suddenly spoke up. "Your parents called me. They said they need to talk to you, but you wouldn't pick up." I picked up another piece of braised ribs. "I know." Gu Qinghan paused her chopsticks for a moment. She glanced at my phone. "Shouldn't you call them back?" I waved it off. "No need. Let them talk. What's done is done anyway. There's nothing they can do to me."
Right on cue, my phone rang again.
The person on the other end immediately started yelling Chen Shu. Go find Su Yuanqing right this instant. Tell her you were wrong. Tell her you just acted on impulse and beg her to remarry you. I winced at the shrill female voice. I pulled the phone a bit further away from my ear. Remarry, they actually dare to dream. Getting scolded or dying at the hands of Su Yuanqing. I know damn well which one is worse. Chen Shu, are you even listening to me? I finally took a second to reply. In listening, but that's going to be tough. Basically, I can't do it. The person on the other end grew even more furious. Chen Shu, is this the attitude you should have toward your parents? I was speechless. Didn't you say before that you no longer had a son? Did you forget? The other side went dead silent. She seemed to want to keep yelling, but I was too lazy to listen. Anyway, I've made myself perfectly clear. I'm busy. Well, talk some other time. With that, I hung up and blocked the number. Gu Qinghan witnessed this whole series of smooth, flawless actions. She decisively put down her chopsticks. She looked me up and down. Not bad, Chen Shu. Dumping your ex-wife is one thing, but now you even dare to rebel against your parents. I still had a piece of meat in my mouth. I mumbled in reply, where there is oppression, there is resistance. Gu Qinghan let out a scoff. She leaned forward slightly. So by that logic, maybe one day it'll be my turn. I gave her a thumbs up, praising her self-awareness. I wasn't surprised by her reaction at all. She grew up with the original owner of this body. She knew exactly what the old Chen Shu was like. The things I was doing right now, from her perspective, could probably be summed up in one sentence. That I've completely lost my mind. But then again, anyone who got dragged into this mess would go crazy too. Being the vicious supporting male without the protagonist's plot armor means you have to run away early just to stay alive. Oh, right. Help me look for a new place. This one isn't bad, but it's hard to avoid being bothered by people from time to time. It's too annoying. Not just Su Yuanqing, but also the original owner's family. Every single one of them is a troublesome relative. I've pretty much completely torn up my relationship with them today. Who knows if they'll show up at my door to cause trouble. I don't have the free time to deal with them. Gu Qinghan replied, leave it to me. Gu Qinghan truly lived up to her title as a standard third-generation rich kid, even though she usually spent most of her time eating, drinking, and having fun. When it actually mattered, she was incredibly reliable. The very next day, she called me. She said she had picked out a villa in the west side of the city. The previous owner went abroad. They're in a rush to sell. It's newly renovated and no one has lived in it yet. You really scored a bargain. I was extremely satisfied with her efficiency. That same day, I dragged Gu Qinghan along to sign the contract with the owner. We transferred the title at lightning speed and conveniently listed the old villa for sale while we were at it. I called a moving company. A crew of movers ran up and down, busy nonstop. Standing on the sidelines watching, I was speechless. Only through this move did I realize just how much stuff the original owner had. Shouldn't I pay these guys extra for all this? Mr. Chen, what's in this box? It's so heavy. A mover carried a large cardboard box down from the third floor. The box was sealed tight. You couldn't tell what was inside from the outside. Just as I was about to step forward and check, I suddenly received a phone call. Hello? Excuse me. Is this Mr. Chen? This is the Third People's Hospital. Your wife suddenly fainted on the street. Could you come over here quickly? I was stunned. Su Yuanqing fainted and was taken to the hospital.
You've got the wrong person.
I'm not her husband. The person on the other end was surprised, but the contact name in the patient's phone, I suddenly remembered. Back when Su Yuanqing was pregnant, the original owner insisted she change his contact name in her phone to Chen Shu, baby's daddy. Su Yuanqing couldn't win against him, so she just let him do it. I didn't expect that even after being divorced for a while. She had forgotten to change it. How is her condition? The patient likely fainted due to low blood sugar. It's not life-threatening, but her overall condition isn't great. You should still come as soon as... All right, I get it, but I'm a bit busy right now. How about this? You guys should contact her current boyfriend, Song Jingnian, and call him. His number is definitely in her contacts. If anything happens in the future, just contact him directly. I hung up only to see a bunch more boxes piled up in the living room. How long is it going to take to unpack all this? Let's just move everything in first. Organize it later when I have free time. Good thing the new house is spacious enough. I asked the housekeeper to tidy up the belongings a bit, then ran off to play a few rounds of games. I even went to check in at a trendy barbecue spot that was blowing up online. The taste wasn't bad, and the decor was especially on point. I couldn't resist snapping a few photos, and posted them on my timeline. Caption, checked in. Another day of grinding for those gains. I even threw in a devastatingly handsome selfie in the middle. My friends flooded the post with likes. Even Gu Qinghan, a lazy bum who rarely surfaced on social media, left a comment. This place is pretty good, I replied. You've eaten here. Gu Qinghan smugly replied, of course, I opened it, speechless. I let her successfully flex on me again. But what I didn't expect was, Song Jingyan actually commented on my post too. It was that kind of superficially polite tone, but underneath it carried a demanding and questioning implication, with a condescending holier-than-thou attitude. Chen Shu, even though you and Wanqing are divorced, she is currently in the hospital. You won't even bother to come see her. Is that really appropriate? As soon as this comment appeared, my social media immediately blew up. The news of my divorce from Su Wanqing was only known to a few people. I hadn't even finished drafting my divorce announcement post yet, and here he is, jumping onto the moral high ground to judge me. I immediately fired back with a green tea tone of my own. A proper ex should act like they're dead. I was just afraid you'd misunderstand, you know? If you don't mind, then I'll go visit her. After all, we used to be classmates. Dropping by to check on her is perfectly reasonable. What do you think? My timeline instantly blew up. The crowd was riled up and furious, but it didn't take long before Song Jingyan deleted that comment himself. Did he think deleting it meant it never happened? I immediately posted a public comment below to ask for advice. From the masters on my friends list, please advise what gift should I bring to visit my ex-wife and her new lover. Help me out. This is really important to me. An hour later, I arrived at the hospital carrying a fruit basket. I didn't expect that right as I reached the door to her room. I did hear Song Jingyan's deeply distressed voice. Yuanqing, please stop being mad. I know I was wrong this time, but I only did it for you. Su Yuanqing didn't respond at all. Song Jingyan sounded frustrated and aggrieved. You even fainted. The hospital specifically called him, yet he didn't even bother to come see you. What if something had happened to you today? Su Yuanqing's exhausted voice finally rang out. I'm a bit tired. I want to be alone for a while. A moment later, the sound of a chair scraping came from inside. Song Jingyan walked to the door. As soon as he opened it, he froze in his tracks in shock. Su Yuanqing noticed something was off and turned her head to look. Her face was incredibly pale, completely lacking her usual fierce, domineering female CEO aura. Lying on the hospital bed with an IV drip, she exuded a rare vulnerability. Seeing me, her gloomy eyes suddenly flickered, seemingly nervous, yet also flustered. Chen Shu, why are you here? I brushed past Song Jingyan and walked inside. Wasn't I afraid of being mocked and criticized? With people saying I don't care if my ex-wife lives or dies right after the divorce. We were college classmates after all. There's no need to make things so tense. Su Yuanqing's beautiful face turned pale. She had definitely seen Song Jingyan and me battling it out on WeChat moments, as proud as she was. How could she tolerate being made a public laughingstock? It was an absolute humiliation. The hatred she held for me in her heart had probably leveled up again. Just thinking about it annoyed me. Well, I've shown up. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. The corners of Su Yuanqing's mouth twitched slightly. Chen Shu, do you really have to be like this? I raised an eyebrow and asked sincerely. What? When I got into a car accident? You didn't come visit me until the third day. Compared to you, I've been more than generous and loyal. Su Yuanqing's face instantly turned ashen. She parted her lips, as if wanting to say something. My phone suddenly rang. It was the housekeeper calling. Mr. Chen, most of your things. I've already finished packing them up, but there's one box left that I haven't touched. It's full of ceramics. How would you like me to handle it? I was stunned. Ceramics.
Yes.
And they look like you made them yourself. So I figured I should call and ask you. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Su Yuanqing's equally dazed expression. A flash of realization hit me. I remembered. Those ceramics really were made by the original owner. Back in college, Su Yuanqing worked part-time at a pottery shop. Back then, because the original owner wanted to woo her, he dropped by almost every single day. He'd sit there for the entire afternoon. He had no talent for it, nor did he have the patience. His heart and eyes were entirely focused on Su Yuanqing, to the point where he'd cover himself in mud every time, only to bring home some god-awful, hideous creation. Yet he enjoyed it tirelessly. He didn't feel embarrassed by it at all. Later on, Su Yuanqing couldn't stand watching him anymore, and told him he was doing it all wrong. The original owner immediately seized the chance, pushing his luck. Then teach me yourself. Su Yuanqing naturally refused, but the original owner was a big spender, and a VIP customer at the shop. She couldn't afford to offend him. It wasn't until Su Yuanqing quit her job later on that the original owner finally stopped. That box of artworks was accumulated exactly like that. They're not important. Just throw them all away.
I don't mind.
Just as I finished speaking, wait, Su Yuanqing suddenly spoke up. You're moving. I gotta say, this woman's IQ actually connects to the internet sometimes. I nodded. That's right. Su Yuanqing asked, where are you moving to?
Why so suddenly?
I couldn't help but laugh. Miss Su, exactly how many times do I have to repeat myself? We're divorced. What I do and where I live has absolutely nothing to do with you anymore. Su Yuanqing choked on her words, as if she had just heard something completely unacceptable. Her eyes faintly reddened. After a long while, she finally compromised. If you don't want those ceramics anymore, I'll have someone bring them to me. I gave her a weird look, Those are my things to begin with. If I want to keep them, I keep them. If I want to throw them away, I throw them away. I don't know how that sentence hit a nerve with Su Yuanqing, but it clearly hurt her. The last glimmer of light in her eyes instantly vanished. Like a feeble flame in the wind finally being blown out, Song Jingyan anxiously hurried over.
Yuanqing, are you okay?
Su Yuanqing tilted her head slightly, dodging his hand. Song Jingyan froze in place, looking incredibly awkward. But I had zero interest in this little drama, so I turned around, ready to leave. Unexpectedly, right as I stepped out the door, a passing doctor called out to me. I looked up and saw a female doctor in her 40s, sizing me up.
What brings you to the hospital?
Are you feeling unwell somewhere? I was a bit confused. Then I saw the name tag on her chest, Head of Obstetrics and Gynecology. A suspicion formed in my mind. The only thing the original owner could possibly have to do with this doctor was the child from before. Thank you for your concern, doctor. But fine. Just here to visit a friend today, I replied vaguely. She seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. That's good. But you two are getting to that age. Next time you get pregnant, you can't just abort it. I froze dead in my tracks. The sheer amount of information packed into those two short sentences was massive. Didn't Su Yuanqing have an accidental miscarriage? That night, when the original owner rushed to the hospital, Su Yuanqing had already been wheeled out of the operating room. Song Jingnian was standing guard right by her bed. Yuanqing? What are you doing? Song Jingnian's panicked shout suddenly rang out from behind me. I turned around to see Su Yuanqing pulling out her own IV needle. She shoved Song Jingnian aside and hurried over in this direction. She rushed straight over and blocked my path, facing the female doctor with an unprecedentedly tense tone. Doctor, this is a private matter between my husband and me. It has nothing to do with you. My entire body went cold again. I stiffly turned my neck to look at Su Yuanqing. For the first time, I felt that this beautiful face was so incredibly foreign. Su Yuanqing, what is the meaning of this? The female doctor slowly furrowed her brows. You didn't know. Your wife said that right now both of your energy is mainly focused on striving for your careers, and that you didn't want a child for the time being, so she chose to get an abortion. And you had absolutely no idea. I don't clearly remember how I got home, because my entire body was so shocked by the sudden news that I felt dizzy, sitting in the study for a long time. I closed my eyes. The book clearly stated that because of Chen Shu's insane jealousy, he got into a massive fight with Su Yuanqing, which led to her accidental miscarriage. I don't know why, but when I thought about this, somewhere in my body seemed to ache in response. It was as if I could genuinely feel the exact moment he realized the child was gone. That absolute despair and agonizing pain. I wanted to shake off these emotions. The study had just been cleaned by the housekeeper. I rummaged around a bit and found the box specifically used to store his college stuff. Finally, at the very bottom of the box, I pulled out a college scrapbook. The miscarriage had already deviated from the novel. So could there be differences in other parts too? Flipping to the first page, there was a photo taken during military training. The boy in the green military uniform was smiling incredibly brightly. On the podium behind him was the silhouette of a slender, delicate girl, even though it was a bit far away. Anyone with a sharp eye could tell at a glance that it was Su Yuanqing during her college days. There were a few small lines of text underneath. On the very first day of military training, a girl fainted from heat stroke right next to me. I carried her on my back to the infirmary. She was light as a feather. I didn't expect that during today's drill. I'd see her representing the freshmen, giving a speech on the podium. So her name is Su Yuanqing. Using a selfie as an excuse to secretly take a picture of your crush is a totally normal move. This was probably right when he had just started liking Su Yuanqing. I found it a bit funny. The original owner fell in love with Su Yuanqing. Yet, it was this kind of simple cliché love at first sight. I couldn't help but reach up and touch my own face. The Chen Shu in the book was selfish and overbearing, so stubborn and extreme that it seemed completely different. From this bright, smiling appearance, it's really hard to imagine a teenager with a sky full of bright stars in his eyes, eventually turning into a paranoid, overbearing, stubborn, and incredibly selfish person. I continued flipping through the pages and realized that every single photo was actually related to Su Yuanqing. The way she sat studying in the lecture hall, the way she swung her racket on the badminton court, her long hair blowing in the wind, the way she quietly got her food and sat eating alone in the cafeteria, the way she bowed her head, working so earnestly in the pottery shop. Sometimes, next to these photos, he even jotted down a few heartfelt thoughts. The classes she picked are so boring. I don't understand a single thing. How can there be a girl who's not only top of her class, but also so amazing at badminton? She seems to always eat alone, and she always gets the cheapest meal in the cafeteria. Is she even getting enough to eat? She always seems so busy. She doesn't even have the time to say a single word to me. This was a scrapbook documenting the original owner's secret love for Su Yuanqing. Over 4 years of college, he took so many photos of her. Every single picture Every single line of text was completely different from the Chen Shu in the novel. She seems to have someone she likes, but that person isn't me.
Should I just give up?
Tomorrow is graduation. Should I just be brave and confess to her? And then say goodbye to this unrequited love? We were only halfway through taking graduation photos. When she suddenly left, I followed her and found out that her mother's condition had worsened and she needed a lot of money. This page was supposed to have a graduation photo pasted on it, but instead, it was just completely blank. Because of Su Wanqing, the original owner even missed his own graduation photo shoot. My hands trembled slightly. I didn't know why, but this notebook felt incredibly heavy. So heavy that it was hard for me to keep turning the pages. It felt like if I kept reading, something completely out of my control would happen. My chest felt like it was being crushed by a boulder. I couldn't breathe in. I couldn't breathe out, driven by some unknown force. I continued to turn the pages. It was a wedding photo. More accurately, it was a marriage certificate photo. In the photo on the marriage certificate, Chen Shu still had a bright smile on his face. Only he looked much more restrained and mature than before. Meanwhile, Su Wanqing's expression was cold and indifferent, completely out of place against the joyous red background of the photo. That was when I remembered. The two of them never actually took wedding photos. After a long year of hesitation and struggle, Su Wanqing ultimately chose to marry Chen Shu. She didn't get to marry the man she loved the most, so naturally she had absolutely no interest in these trivial matters. Plus, her mother was hospitalized at the time, so they didn't hold a wedding ceremony, nor did they take wedding photos. I originally thought that on that night, the last day he got to be with Su Wanqing, Chen Shu would have written down so many heartfelt words. But in reality, this page was completely blank without a single word. I stared at that photo for a long time, a bitter, choking sorrow rising in my chest. 5 years of unrequited love, 5 years of marriage. And yet they only had this one single photo together. I suppressed the chaotic thoughts in my mind and kept turning the pages, only to find that there were no more photos of Su Wanqing. All that was left were occasional diary entries. She seems really busy lately. The company was just founded. She has to personally handle everything. It's so hard on her. I made her favorite sweet and sour ribs, but she came back from entertaining clients reeking of alcohol and fell asleep the moment she hit the bed. She bought an apartment near the company, saying it's for a more convenient commute.
But why is that man there too?
I know I can't compare to his place in her heart, but I still want us to have a child together. Just the two of us. Am I completely hopeless? I went to the nursing home again today, and happened to run into Guqing Han, who was discharging her grandfather. She scolded me for being brainless, saying that with a woman like Su Wanqing, these kinds of tricks are completely useless. I turned on my heel and walked away, because I knew deep down that she was telling the truth. I was originally going to give up, but that night, Su Wanqing came home. I don't know if things weren't going well at work, but she was completely drunk. I still couldn't control myself and kissed her. And for the first time, she actually kissed me back. In the middle was a large blank space, until another diary entry. She seems to be pregnant. I continued to flip through the pages. Those 2 months were the most peaceful time in Chen Shu and Su Wanqing's relationship. Even though he knew full well that this change in Su Wanqing was entirely because of the baby, but he couldn't ask for anything more. Since many years ago, he had been so deeply in love with this woman that he couldn't extricate himself. He once thought she was the light of his life. He wanted to absorb warmth and unconditional love from her. However, it was a mistake from the very beginning. All these seemingly beautiful illusions were ultimately pierced through in the most cruel way. The last page was an abortion consent form that had been torn to pieces and taped back together. In the bottom right corner of the consent form was Su Wanqing's signature, like a bolt of lightning striking right next to my ear. A sharp pain hit me. My entire body went numb. My hands and feet turned ice cold. Countless images flashed continuously through my mind. I was like a dying fish in a torrential downpour, desperate to break the surface for air, only to be swallowed by an even fiercer wave. I finally remembered. I didn't transmigrate into a book. I'm Chen Shu. My phone suddenly rang, sounding exceptionally piercing in the dead silence of the study. It was Guqing Han calling. I swiped the screen to answer. Before I could even open my mouth, Guqing Han asked bluntly, "Did you go to the hospital to see Su Wanqing today?" She had just boarded a flight for a business trip this afternoon. Logically speaking, she shouldn't have known what was going on with me. Even though I posted that comment on my Moments, she still shouldn't have known the details so clearly. I didn't deny it. "How did you know?" She paused for a moment. "Su Wanqing just called me, asking about some things regarding you." "Is that so?" I nodded, with absolutely no intention of pressing further. Hearing my calm tone, Guqing Han seemed to realize something was off. "It's so late, are you still awake?" I was just about to speak. When I heard the doorbell ring, the person at the door was actually Su Wanqing. I hung up on Guqing Han, went downstairs to open the door, but didn't let her inside. It was pitch black outside. The streetlight shone behind her, casting a bleak gray shadow. It only accentuated her face, half in light, half in shadow. I asked, "What do you want?" "I came to apologize to you. From the time I left the hospital until now, 3 hours had already passed. Shez only just now remembering to say this. There is no need, I said flatly. It's all in the past. I don't need this apology anymore. Su Wonqing's face grew even paler. Listen to me explain. I can explain. That day, I really just acted on impulse. Was it an impulse, or was it premeditated? I let out a cold chuckle and retorted. Carrying my child made you that miserable, huh? Su Wanqing froze for a long time before squeezing her eyes shut, forcing out every word. At first, I really didn't want to keep the baby. But later, watching the baby grow day by day, I was just confused in the moment. I regret it too. Regretting it now, don't you think it's a little too late? A belated sense of remorse flashed in Su Wanqing's eyes. Her shoulders trembled, choking on words she couldn't speak. The corners of my lips curled up slightly, making me think that you had an accidental miscarriage because of me. So I would definitely be consumed by endless guilt, and could never use the child to pressure you again, forcing me to let go and give you your freedom, right? Su Wanqing suddenly froze. Subconsciously, she had always believed that I was the kind of selfish man who was stubborn, reckless, and full of spite. As long as the child was gone, I would have no reason left to tie her down. She opened her mouth, as if every word was incredibly difficult to utter. But this is between the two of us. Why did you suddenly attack Song Jingyan that day? I looked at her in silence. This woman was the one I had loved and yearned for over so many years. Yet even at this very moment, all she cared about was another man. I burst out laughing.
No reason at all.
I simply couldn't stand the sight of him. He deserved it. But anyway, the child is gone, and we're already divorced. Su Wanqing, you can finally fly away and be with him. You should be happy. No. Su Wanqing looked as if she had just been severely triggered, lunging forward to grab my hand tightly. Ah, I don't love him. I don't love him at all. Chen Shu, don't use that tone with me. Okay, I furrowed my brows tightly, and was just about to push her away, when a soft chuckle suddenly came from behind. Looks like I came at a bad time. Su Wanqing instantly stiffened. That was when I saw clearly, the person who arrived was actually the one who was supposed to be. Away on a business trip, Gu Qinghan. She tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear, her beautiful eyes radiating a cold glint. Su Wanqing, I told you already, didn't I? You were the one who demanded the divorce, so stop clinging to him. Su Wanqing bit her lip hard, glaring at Gu Qinghan with eyes full of hostility. What happens between me and Chen Shu? Since when is it any business of an outsider like you? Gu Qinghan's delicate brows arched slightly. She stepped forward in her high heels, stood right next to me, and naturally linked her arm through mine. My heart skipped a beat.
Gu Qinghan.
She tilted her head, flashing me a smile that was both charming and innocent. Are you thinking of getting back with your ex? My mind was a bit of a mess, so I just shook my head. No intention of doing that. By the way, why did you suddenly come back? Gu Qinghan lifted her chin. If I didn't come back, was I supposed to just watch her harass you? Su Wanqing glared fiercely at Gu Qinghan's hand, wrapped around my arm, her eyes turning bloodshot again. Gu Qinghan, stop acting so high and mighty. Whatever despicable intentions you're hiding in your heart, you know best. Gu Qinghan laughed again. She turned her head, smiling radiantly. Since CEO Su is so wise and sees through everything, then please enlighten me, CEO Su. What exactly are my intentions? Su Wanqing couldn't utter a single word, her tightly pressed lips trembling. Gu Qinghan sneered, what's wrong? CEO Su doesn't want to say. Then let me say it for you. I've been praying day and night for you two to get divorced, so I could finally make my move and pursue him. An opportunity like this doesn't come easy, so of course I have to put a lot of thought into it, to make sure I grab hold of it. The night breeze carried her clear, distinct voice, every word striking hard against my chest, stirring up a silent, fervent heat. Gu Qinghan continued to press on. Look at yourself, Su Wanqing. If you had even a working pair of eyes, if you had even a shred of conscience, you wouldn't have been able to say those words just now. You don't actually think someone will forgive you forever? Give you chances forever, do you? Su Wanjin's face instantly turned pale, her body swaying, as if she would collapse at any moment. She struggled to open her mouth, her voice cracking. I really didn't mean to. Gu Qinghan didn't even bother to listen, cutting her off directly, her voice dropping a few degrees. I already told you, he finally managed to forget about that, and is ready to start a new life. Do you really have to bring it up again? I suddenly looked over at Gu Qinghan. Something about what she said didn't sound quite right to me. Could she have realized something? But Gu Qinghan didn't notice my reaction, simply saying flatly, just leave. Don't ever come back. Su Wanqing almost fell to her knees, her eyes losing focus, looking completely devastated. I didn't want to look at her anymore, so I spoke up. The things you wanted to ask were nothing more than those two questions from earlier. I've already answered them. From today onwards, you and I have absolutely nothing to do with each other. After saying that, I turned to leave, when a dull thud suddenly came from behind me. Su Wanqing had actually dropped to her knees. Her voice trembled uncontrollably. I know I was wrong. It's all my fault. Please give me one more chance. Can we just start over? Gu Qinghan's first reaction was to look back at me, Her usual arrogant and domineering aura vanished completely. Her large, sparkling eyes glued to me. Her hands hanging by her sides, secretly clenched into fists. Her small face tense. She was incredibly nervous. Su Wanjin was waiting for my answer, and so was she. I turned back around and quietly looked at Su Wanjin. Su Wanqing, in our 5 years of marriage, I wasn't as good at pleasing you as Song Jingnian. Instead, I only brought you trouble. I even had the delusion of monopolizing you, being utterly unreasonable. That's what you really think, isn't it? Su Wanqing's face went deathly pale. I gently added, even this marriage itself was only because I forced it upon you. If it weren't for your mother, you would never have been with me, nor would you have gotten so entangled with me. This is your assessment of our marriage, Su Wanqing. These are also the exact words you said to me right before the accident, aren't they? Her expression was filled with extreme remorse. Her eyes panicked. I only said that because I was acting on impulse that day. I was just too angry at the time. It was exactly those words of hers that made me realize just how ridiculous, annoying, and hateful I was in her eyes. After losing the child, my heart turned to ash, and I started wondering if I should just let go and give her back her freedom. A man like me simply didn't deserve to stay by her side anymore. So later, when Song Jingyan asked to meet, I agreed. I also wanted to find an opportunity to make things clear with the man who was always lingering outside of my marriage with Su Wanjin. But before I could even ask that day, Song Jingnian handed me that abortion consent form. Chen Shu, you don't actually think that relying on a child
Will win King's heart, do you?
Actually, when you called, I was right next to her. I heard everything. I even advised her to stay home and not go on the business trip. But do you know what she said? She said you just wanted to use the child to tie her down.
Too annoying.
You've liked Wanqing since freshman year, haven't you? I think it was because she fainted during military training, and you took her to the infirmary. Helping others is a good thing, but it's not like just because of one little thing. You can force someone to pledge their life to you.
Daunt, you agree?
Chen Shu, stop being stupid. If you keep acting like this, Wanqing will get really sick of you. Dragging your child into it, she hates that too. I never expected that Song Jingnian would intentionally throw himself down the stairs. Nor did I expect Su Wanqing to appear at that exact moment. She didn't care to listen to my explanation. Just cried endlessly by Song Jingnian's side, incredibly tense and worried. From beginning to end, she never even glanced at me once. Later, I finally waited until she had some free time. I wanted to go find her and confront her about the baby, only to be shut down by those words of hers, Chen Shu. How long are you going to keep throwing a tantrum? Do you know that everything about you makes me sick? That day, I wandered aimlessly on the streets for a long time. My mind was full of her disgusted, critical words. Was I really that selfish? Was I really that extreme? Was I really that hateful? Until that out-of-control car rushed towards me, and I passed out on the spot. When I woke up again, I had become a different me. The me in Su Wanqing's eyes. She had built an illusory world for me. And in this world, I was crazy and selfish, stubborn and absurd. More importantly, my instincts no longer loved her. I looked straight into her eyes and calmly said, but Su Wanqing, in this world, I don't love you anymore either. When I woke up the next morning, it was already broad daylight. I smelled the aroma of breakfast and strolled into the kitchen. Gu Qinghen was cooking. I was stunned. Eldest Miss Gu.
What's the special occasion today that's worth troubling you?
Gu Qinghan jerked her chin toward the yard. That annoying person. Yesterday, Su Wanqing knelt out there all night. And I didn't care either. I just pulled Gu Qinghan, who wanted to argue, back to the room, and went straight to sleep. I sat at the dining table and took a bite of the fried egg toast she made. This is also the first day of failure for eldest Miss Gu in the kitchen. Gu Qinghen hurriedly rushed over to snatch it back. It's burnt. Don't eat it. Let me make you another one. I turned my body to dodge. No need, it's a waste. It's not like it's inedible. Gu Qinghan was half skeptical. Really? I held up the piece of cake.
Try it.
Just as she was about to take a bite, I leaned in and planted a kiss on the corner of her lips. She completely froze. Her ears turned bright red at a visible speed. Satisfied? I pinched her cheek. Why are you being so loud? Your voice is even louder than when you confessed to me yesterday. Gu Qinghan choked on her words for a long time, and finally just threw herself into my arms. Her muffled voice rang out. I thought you forgot everything. When you first woke up from the accident, you forgot so much. I almost thought I'd have to raise a giant idiot for the rest of my life. I ruffled her hair. How could I? Even if I forgot myself, I'd never forget you. During the time when I didn't even recognize myself and lost all trust, there was still one person I never kept my guard up against. Trusting her completely. She looked up with a smug smile. Finally smart for once. It wasn't a waste for this lady to like you all these years. It felt like something gently scratched at my heart. I couldn't help but say, Gu Qinghan, how are you even dumber than me, falling for a guy like me? She looked triumphant. Obviously, I just have great taste. I knew how to wait for someone worth waiting for. I smiled too. Right.
You're the best.
Su Wanking's POV. Lately, I keep running into this one guy. He's there when I go to class. He's there when I play badminton. And he's even there when I work my part-time job. His attempts to get close to me are so clumsy. And he doesn't even know how to act. Everything is written all over his face. It's a bit annoying. It's not like I haven't been liked by other guys before, but no one has ever been as blatant as him. I thought he'd give up after a while, but who knew he'd be so stubborn? I deliberately hung out with Song Jingnian, wanting him to take the hint and back off. The sadness in his eyes was plain to see. Sure enough, he didn't show up for a long time after that. I breathed a sigh of relief. But I also felt that guys like him really are only enthusiastic for 3 minutes. After all, he's a rich young master who has never suffered a day in his life. He's not like people like us. Recalling what Song Jingnian said, I felt even more troubled, with Song Jingnian hinting that he wanted us to be together. I just found a random excuse to politely reject him. I don't have the time or energy to date. I still have to take care of my parents and support my family. Luckily, Song Jingnian was always understanding. After learning about my difficulties, he never brought it up again, and instead, wholeheartedly helped me. However, accidents always strike unexpectedly. My mother's condition worsened, and we urgently needed a massive amount for medical bills. Just when I thought I had reached a dead end, that guy came back. What do you want? He shook his head. Not saying a word, I sneered inwardly, not knowing if I was laughing at him or at myself. Then let's be together, I heard my own voice say. I knew what he wanted. Yet he still deliberately put on an act. But I had no other choice. I needed money. So I could only sell myself. His relationship with his family wasn't good, so he always liked clinging to me. But I was very busy. I didn't have the time. Gradually, the number of times he sought me out decreased. I thought he had finally figured things out. But who knew it'd go make trouble for Song Jingnian? I scolded him a few times, but he never admitted it. And we always ended up parting on bad terms. After that, he finally settled down, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But then I saw him at the nursing home, chatting with someone else. It was Gu Qinghan, his childhood sweetheart, whose family background matched his. If it weren't for me, they would have been a perfectly matched couple.
I'm a woman.
I understood the way he looked at her all too well. He would complain and whine to her. He would bicker and joke around with her. 77, yet he had never done any of these things with me. How could he be like this? He said he liked me, but he was with another woman. He thought I was drunk that day, but I knew I wasn't. I don't know where this possessiveness came from, but it swallowed me whole. Even I didn't expect it. Until I got pregnant. For some reason, I breathed a sigh of relief. I had a child, so I had to stay with him. I don't even know how I managed to make the decision to lie on that operating table. I thought it was a punishment for him, but I was wrong. I suffered 10,000 times more than I imagined. Everything shattered and started slipping out of control. I don't even know how those words managed to come out of my mouth. I must have been crazy. The moment he signed the divorce papers, I realized I was truly insane. How could I let him leave? I couldn't let him leave. But by the time I came to my senses, it was too late. I fired Song Jingnian and exposed the fact that he had previously taken bribes and leaked company secrets. He could no longer survive in the industry. He knelt outside the company doors begging for days, and finally left this city in disgrace, never to be heard from again. I couldn't bear to change the contact name for his phone number. But one day when I was drunk, I called it only to find the number was disconnected. Later, I heard that he and Gu Qinghan had a grand wedding. I finally realized one thing. I had completely lost him. It was pouring rain outside, the dampness filling the air, almost seeping into the very depths of my heart.
It's my fault.
It's all my fault. I was the one who lost him, and lost myself too.
Sorry.
Please don't meet me again in the next life. Scene change meeting. Su Wanqing again happened 3 years later. My mom is dying. She wants to see you. Looking at the haggard, emaciated woman in front of me, I almost didn't recognize her. Was this really the once glamorous and beautiful Su Wanqing? In just 3 short years, she looked like she had aged a decade. I heard she had to ask around through several college friends, just to find out my current whereabouts.
And come looking for me.
She and I had completely cut ties, but thinking of the old woman lying, curled up and frail on that hospital bed, I finally nodded. But I have things to do later, so I probably can't stay long. Su Wanqing's dull eyes suddenly lit up. She seemed surprised that I agreed so readily, and for a moment, she was a bit flustered. That's fine, I'm just glad you're willing to go. Her face showed an unprecedented submissiveness and tension. I'm already incredibly grateful that you're willing to go, after making a phone call home. I went with Su Wanqing to visit Mother Su. Surprisingly, Mother Su wasn't living in a nursing home. The car finally stopped in front of a dilapidated apartment building. Oh right, I heard that a few years ago. Su Wanqing and Song Jingnian had a falling out. Song Jingnian harbored a grudge and deliberately joined Su Wanqing's rival company. Step by step, he pushed Su Wanqing to the brink of collapse. Her company went bankrupt. She was drowning in debt, and apparently even ran around borrowing money from former classmates. I don't know how she stumbled around after that, but she actually ended up in this state. Not only could she not afford the exorbitant nursing home fees, she didn't even have a decent place to live, and could only barely manage to rent a place like this. Arriving at the door, Su Wanqing didn't go in immediately. With her hand on the door, she took a deep breath, before finally pushing it open and walking in. Mother Su lay on the sickbed, looking haggard and barely breathing. "Mom," Su Wanqing called out. Hearing her voice, Mother Su opened her eyes but slowly turned her face away, and closed her eyes again. Su Wanqing walked over, and said softly, "Chen Shu is here to see you." Mother Su trembled violently, and slightly lifted her head. "Auntie Su." I greeted her. Mother Su's eyes instantly turned red, tears rolling down, falling onto the back of her bony, emaciated hand. Su Wanqing hurriedly tried to wipe her tears, but Mother Su pushed her away hard. "Get out. I don't have a daughter like you." Caught off guard, Su Wanqing fell to the floor, tears streaming down her face. I felt a bit awkward, not knowing how the relationship between mother and daughter had ended up like this. "Auntie Su, please, don't get worked up." Mother Su's tears fell even harder. She opened her mouth, her voice choked and hoarse. "I know everything now.
Wanqing wronged you.
Our Su family wronged you." I stayed silent for a moment, then shook my head. "It's all in the past. Everyone has their own life now. We always have to look forward, don't you think? I've done good deeds my whole life. I deserve this kind of retribution. Chen Shu, you're a good kid. Don't come back here again." With red, swollen eyes, Su Wanqing offered to walk me downstairs. "No need. Just take good care of your mother," I said, checking the time on my phone. Su Wanqing smiled bitterly. Ever since she found out we divorced, she disowned me. Every day she sees me, she gets angry. I had no patience, nor any interest in hearing this, so I grabbed my car keys ready to leave. Su Wanqing hesitated, wanting to say something but stopping. "Chen Shu, are you really in that much of a hurry? Why don't you stay for a meal, or at least a cup of tea?" I nodded. "I really am in a hurry. Xiaobao is out of school. I have to go pick her up. If I'm late, her mom will make me stand in the corner again." Su Wanqing looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. Her body swayed, her face as pale as a sheet of paper. "Forgot to tell you, Xiaobao is my daughter." I smiled. "You haven't met her, but her eyes look like her mom's, and her nose and mouth look like mine." Su Wanqing couldn't utter another word. She collapsed onto the sofa, slowly covered her face, and burst into sobs. I turned and left. The moment the door closed, a devastating wail echoed from inside the house. I didn't look back, walking straight ahead, and sped off to the kindergarten. "Daddy." A soft, sweet-smelling little furball threw herself into my arms. I scooped her up. "Let's go home. Mommy made something delicious today." The little girl immediately wrinkled her nose, acting pitiful. "Daddy, I want to eat your cooking." I pinched her nose. "I'll cook for you when we get home."